Welcome to another episode of the AI-driven Swebbcast. The source content is all Swebb, but the interpretation and presentation is all AI.
All right, so get this. We're going deep on church budgets today.
Church budgets. You sure we can make this interesting?
Oh, absolutely. I think this will be fascinating. We're breaking down a blog post by this guy, Swebb.
Swebb, okay.
He's a consultant, works with churches like a budgeting coach for pastors.
So he's seen it all, huh? Probably got some strong opinions.
He does, yeah. He's saying that a lot of churches miss out on key investments, things that could really help them thrive.
Okay, so what's the biggest thing that jumps out at him when he looks at a typical church budget?
The very first thing, savings.
Savings. Yeah, that makes sense. It's got to be tough to prioritize, though, right?
Definitely. It seems like a lot of churches operate week to week, almost like they're relying on faith alone to keep them afloat.
Right. But Swebb's really pushing for disciplined saving, even small amounts consistently.
So, like, build that financial cushion over time.
Exactly. He says that lets churches jump on opportunities. Maybe there's a sudden need in the community or a chance to expand their ministry. They can move quickly if they've got the resources.
That's a great point. What I found really interesting is that in this post, he doesn't actually say what churches should be saving for.
Oh, really? So it's like a teaser.
Yeah. He says he saves that for his coaching clients. This is part of his secret sauce.
Makes you wonder, though, like what kind of big goals would need that kind of long-term financial planning? It really highlights how important it is to think strategically.
Totally. Even if you're not part of a church, this applies to everyone, right? Personal finances, businesses. It's that whole rainy day fund idea.
For sure. Being prepared and proactive can make all the difference.
Absolutely. All right, so we've got savings as priority number one. What else is Swebb saying churches need to budget for?
Outreach and missions. He's actually really passionate about this one. It's like his pet peeve that so many churches just completely ignore it.
Yeah, he uses the word amazing. Like he's shocked by how many churches just leave it out. So why is he so insistent on this? Why give it so much weight?
He believes that when churches invest in their communities, it's not just charity, it's actually a smart strategy.
So it's not just about doing good, it's about doing well, too.
Exactly. And it's not the same as advertising. He makes that distinction really clear. It's not about putting up billboards or running ads.
So what is it about then?
Partnering with organizations, making a real difference in people's lives. It's about showing up, not just talking about it.
Actions speak louder than words, that kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly. Putting your money where your mouth is, demonstrating your values through what you do.
I love that. Okay, so we've got savings, outreach. What's the third thing on Swebb's list?
This one might surprise you. He recommends budgeting for guest preachers and coaching.
You know, I was really struck by how strongly he feels about bringing in outside voices, especially for smaller churches. Like, why is he so adamant about that?
I think he just believes that fresh perspectives are vital for any organization, especially churches. You get new insights, challenge assumptions, and it can be really encouraging, especially for a smaller church that might be struggling.
It's that whole you don't know what you don't know thing.
Yeah, exactly. And for churches that are just starting out, he calls them church plants, I think that kind of guidance can be invaluable. It's like having a mentor to help you navigate the challenges and avoid making costly mistakes.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So what's he saying about allocating resources for this? Does he give a specific percentage?
He doesn't get into percentages in this post, but he does have really strong recommendations, especially for those new church plants. He's really firm about setting aside a specific amount right from the start.
That makes sense though, right? Investing in experienced voices early on could set you up for success down the road.
Absolutely. It's all about building a solid foundation from the beginning. Back again, digging deeper into church budgets with Swebb. Last time we hit those first three big areas he thinks churches should really be focusing on.
Right, we were talking about saving money, outreach to the community, and getting outside help like guest speakers or coaching.
But we're not done yet. Swebb's got one more big thing he wants churches to pay attention to.
Yeah, and it's a biggie. The fourth area he talks about is leadership development.
And he's got some thoughts on how churches are handling that right now.
He's not thrilled, to put it mildly. He really goes after how a lot of churches just pour all their leadership development resources into a few people at the top, like the executives.
He's basically saying, why are you only watering the top of the tree? It just doesn't make sense to him.
Right, he's arguing that you need to invest in leaders at every level if you want the church to really thrive, to really make a difference.
Yeah, it's about empowering people throughout the organization, not just those at the very top.
I like that.
Me too. Does he give specific ideas for how churches could use these funds better?
Oh yeah, definitely. Things like taking leaders out for coffee, buying them gift cards, hosting dinners where they can get some training.
Simple stuff, but meaningful, right?
Exactly. It shows appreciation and it creates a culture where people feel supported, where they want to grow. But he's also big on accountability. You can't just throw money at the problem.
It's about being intentional with your spending.
Exactly. Making sure the money is being used wisely and that you're actually seeing results. So you invest in people, but you also need a system to make sure it's working.
Exactly. It's like planting a garden. You can't just put the seeds in the ground and walk away. You have to nurture them, tend to them, make sure they have what they need to thrive.
I love that analogy. Okay, so now we've covered all four of Swebb's big recommendations for church budgets: savings, outreach and missions, guest speakers and coaches. and leadership development.
That's a lot to think about. What stood out to you the most?
You know what really stuck with me is how Swebb ties financial decisions back to the big picture. He's saying your budget is a tool. You use it to achieve your vision.
It's not just about keeping the books balanced. It's about making smart investments that'll help you reach your goals.
Like he's saying, don't just react to what's happening. Think ahead, plan for the future you want, and make a budget that will support that.
And that's powerful advice, whether you're leading a church, a business, or just trying to manage your own finances.
Totally. Now, there was one thing that Swebb didn't really talk about in this post that I have found interesting.
Was that?
All the traditional stuff you normally see in a church budget. Building maintenance, utilities, staff salaries. He doesn't mention any of that.
That is interesting. What do you think that means?
I'm not sure. Maybe he just assumes those things are already covered. Or maybe he's saying these 4 areas we talked about should be the top priority, even if it means cutting back somewhere else.
It's almost like he's saying, okay, you've got your basic operations figured out, the lights are on, the roof isn't leaking. Now let's talk about how you can actually grow and make a difference.
Yeah. It's about moving beyond just maintaining things and starting to think about how you can actually achieve your mission.
He's definitely challenging the way a lot of churches think about their budgets. It's a whole different mindset.
And that's a message that anyone can apply to their life or their work.
For sure. It's about thinking bigger, being intentional, and making choices that will get you where you want to go in the long run.
So we've really dug into Swebb's take on church budgeting. What are your big takeaways?
You know, for me, it's that idea of planning ahead, being proactive, using your budget to get where you want to go. It's not just about making the numbers work. It's about making smart choices with your money.
Yeah, like he's saying, don't just let things happen, make them happen, create the future you want to see.
And that's such a powerful concept. It doesn't just apply to churches. It works for businesses, for your own personal finances, anything.
I totally agree. Before we wrap up, though, got to make sure everyone knows where to find more of Swebb's stuff. He's got a ton of resources for anyone who wants to really dig into these ideas.
For sure. He's got a Substack where he posts pretty regularly. All about church leadership, finances, that kind of thing.
Great way to stay up to date. And don't forget his email newsletter, Swebb Mail. Even more good stuff there. You can sign up for both on his website.
It's like a gold mine of information.
Well, that about wraps up our deep dive into the world of church budgeting. We've covered a lot today.
We have savings, outreach to the community, bringing in outside voices, investing in leaders at all levels.
And even though we've been talking about churches, a lot of these principles apply anywhere.
Right, absolutely. Whether you're running a business, managing your own money, it's all about being intentional, making decisions that line up with your goals.
Totally. So as we head into a new week, I want to leave you with this. What's one area of your life? Could be at work, could be personal, where you could do a little deep dive of your own.
What needs a little extra attention, a little more investment? Think about it.
Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.
See you next time.
Are you going to do something with what you just heard? Or are you just trying to be entertained? Share this episode, then connect with Swebb. Bring him to your headquarters or visit him in Austin, Texas. Swebb is a productive disruptor for leaders and teams in churches and marketplace organizations. His goal is to make you better first, make you a friend later. Swebb serves leaders and executive teams around the world, primarily focused on helping organizations maximize what they say they want to do. He drives you to execute on your expectations, even if it hurts your ego. He's not here to please everyone, nor does he seek validation. But if you're serious about elevating your leadership and team performance, you'll know where to find him. Connect with Swebb at swebb.fyi or on Instagram at swebbfyi. You doing all you said you'd do, that's what the church and the world needs.